Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to my latest video, and today's video is going to be a re-editing slash remake slash re-correcting of my Yakuza 0 the real estate minigame or something. I did this I think last year. I don't know when I uploaded it, but when I was watching the video over and over again, or when I was watching the video again, I noticed that there was a lot of audio issues. In particular, the laptop being super noisy, and now that I have a gaming PC, it's a lot quieter now. So let's get right into it here by hopefully producing a much more polished version of what I wanted to originally create. So let's get right into it here. So essentially, this minigame is unlocked in Chapter 6 of the main story, and this is a very good opportunity to make a lot of money right off the bat, as opposed to beating up goons constantly for money, because honestly the amount of goons that you beat up doesn't really give you that much money at all. I feel like this is a perfect example on how to make the most amount of profit and get a fuck ton of yen, honestly. More than an average gamer would really need, because money is only used to buy property. But anyways, I digress. Let's get right into it here. So essentially you start off with three types of staff members. You're given a manager. Move the cursor here. You're given a manager, a guard, and a advisor. So let's kind of break down their abilities here more in depth. So for managers, we have two types of abilities. We have financial savvy and we have economic influence. So the financial savvy doesn't really have a effect until you reach a certain point in the game where a scripted in-game mechanic called a money battle will occur. So let's say if you're around like a 30% share out of 100, right? The Leisure King, or the first boss, he will then challenge you to a sort of button mashing battle to see who can throw the most money, because that's just how this game works for some reason. And the idea is that if you win, you gain a 5% increase or somewhere around that area. So if I win this money battle type of scenario, I gain an overall total of a 10% share increase, whereas if I lose the money battle, I will go back to a zero. But even if I do have a 0% share increase, I can obviously keep playing the game further again, and I can continue to rebound, but it will just take a lot more work. So the overall game plan here is to try to win these money battles. And relating back to the managers here, the financial savvy, or the 1 star, they essentially act as health bars during the money battle, but other than that, they don't really have any particular purpose at all. So the second ability for the managers is called economic influence, and this is essentially how much money that you can expect to receive or lose in a particular day in terms of a discount percentage. So on the first day, marked by this little red square here, we can see that I'm not going to gain anything at all. I'm not going to lose money, I'm not going to gain money. But if a higher Hirata on the second day and on the third day, I will gain a 10% increase towards my overall profits that I can accumulate. And on the fourth day, I gain nothing, and on the fifth day, I lose 10%. So it's kind of playing to the strengths of each particular manager. So that's kind of it for the managers portion. The second type of staff members that we have are the securities. So again, they kind of similar function. They kind of similar. They have a very similar function to the managers. So first off, they have something called problem solving, and this is essentially how effective they are at preventing in trouble statuses to occur. So in trouble statuses are essentially another in-game mechanic that is built into the game here. So let's say if you how should I explain this? Let me see. So let's say if you own 5 out of 10 stores in total, this in status mechanic will occur, which basically means that the Leisure King, he will send a bunch of goons to occupy one area of his properties, and essentially what you have to do is you have to beat the goons in order to progress, because if you don't, the Leisure King will temporarily pause your overall time to pay out. So let's say if this was like 50%, once that in status message occurs, he will essentially pause this from occurring, or he will pause this meter from progressing until you accomplish that objective. And essentially, the safety influence is how likely the money battles from the managers will occur. So, yeah, and also another thing is that they rely on numbers too. So the first day, as you can see, is a -1, meaning that there's a pretty high chance that a money battle can occur. And only on the second day, there's a good opportunity, or there's a better outcome that a money battle won't occur. But on the third to fifth day, they're all negative numbers. Meaning, if you hire Tara, overall he's not a good fit because he's more likely to, fail in terms of preventing the money battles from occurring. So essentially, if I hire this guy, expect to have more button matching sequences. And finally, let's move on to the advisors here. So for the advisors, again, we're given two types of abilities. We're given ability rank and we're given support ability. So the ability rank doesn't really have any effect at all. It's just more of a ranking system. So think of this as like Takada is level 1 out of 5. So what is more important is the support ability. So instead of dealing with numbers, as you can see, the guards, they have numbers, they have neutral, negatives, and we have positive numbers, right? The advisors, they have geometrical shapes instead. So to break it down, 2 circles is like an A plus, or it's the best of the best. A single circle is like a B. Triangle is like a C. It's like you don't gain, you don't lose, and an X is like a D or an F, meaning they're not compatible for a job. So let's kind of dive into the in-game progress here. Let's see how this works out. Okay, so I'm going to start off by hiring the staff members first, just to kind of break it down, because it went from I think manager to security to advisor. So according to this list here, we go from manager to guard to advisor. Okay. So I'm given a choice between Hirata and Nagaoka. So if you look at the economic influence here, which is more important, especially when you're starting off, because the money battles won't occur until you progress a bit further into the story or into this mini game. So going back to the economic influence here, I'd probably go for Hirata, because on the second and third day there's a 10% increase, whereas if I choose Nagaoka, from day 1 to day 4, I'm not really benefiting at all. I'm not getting any. I'm not losing money, nor am I gaining more money, so I feel like Hirata is the more suitable candidate. Although if you select Nagaoka, it wouldn't really matter. I think he's more of a safer route too, because the zeros, I guess they're more of a safe zone. But if you want to make more money, go for Hirata. So it really depends on how you want to play this sort of mini game. So in terms of the security, again, we're given 2 types of members here. We're given Tada and we're given Umatsu. I believe that's how you say their name. So I'm given a choice between Tada and Huratsu, and I'll just call him Taka. Fuck it. If I'm given a choice between Takashi and Tada, or Taka, sorry, I choose Umatsu, because from day 1 to day 4 there's a 0%, or there's a 0% chance of any trouble occurring, even though they're both level 1. So you would think that at level 1, they're like, hey, they're more susceptible to, not doing their jobs correctly, but you also have to consider the safety influence. So I mean, if you just look at it, like, honestly, from the numbers, you can see that this is probably more preferred because it's more of a safe zone. Whereas if we choose Tada, the only day that, he'll be efficient in his job is day 2. But, I value consistency over, quantity or whatever. And finally, for the stores, we are given a free place called Yurizaki, which is like a dinery or something like that. And for the advisors, we're given between Takada and Chiba. So as you can see, the game will tell you what kind of business this is too. So this is a dinery, as you can tell, about a fork and knife. So based on what I said previously in the video, I'd go for Takada because a circle is more superior when compared to a triangle. And I don't have enough money, as you can tell, but once you hit enter, you'll see the progress bar go up, and you'll see the letter change too if it reaches like the next percentage bar. So with that being said, that's kind of the gist for this video. We just gotta basically understand the roles of each staff members and more importantly, their second abilities. So just to recap, so if you're dealing with managers, worry more about the economic influence and the numbers. For the guards, more or less the same thing, the safety influence, worry about this more and the numbers. And for the advisors, worry about the support abilities or these numbers here. Again, the ranks don't really mean shit. This one is more of like, it's kind of like if you're given this type of security, then, you just gotta kind of deal with it. But you can also do sub stories to get better security and get better staff members altogether. So if you don't do the sub stories, then you would just end up with shitty security members. But if you do the sub stories, then you can get a much higher chance of trouble not occurring if you get better security members and all that stuff. For the managers, again, the financial savvy only matters when you're in a money battle type of scenario. But yeah, hopefully that's it for this video, and I hope this tutorial is a lot more helpful. Hopefully the product is more bearable in terms of watching, and if this video doesn't help, you can also check out the description down below on the official guide to help me out or watch other people's perspectives on how to play this minigame.